Welcome to this Zentangle Quickie. My name is Heather Hartwick Gladden, and I'm a certified Zentangle teacher. Today we're going to take a look at the Tangle Four Corners by Barbara Finwell. Now, this is a grid pattern, or a grid tangle, and there's a couple neat options of this. So I'm just going to do a 4-square grid here, because actually this pattern goes over, I probably didn't even make it that big, but that's okay. It goes over 4 squares. So when you make your grid, know that the pattern is contained in those 4 spaces. All right, next we're going to put in seeds, all pointing towards the corner. Now, if you don't know what a seed is, it's basically a curved line going one direction, curved line going the opposite direction, and it looks like a seed. All right, and then I'm going to turn my tile. I used to have challenges with these. Oh, heck, apparently I still do. Never mind. No, just kidding. One thing you can do is, so if you have your hand placed comfortably, and you're kind of pivoting your pen, on the heel of your hand, so it goes like this. Something you can do is flip the tile or your paper and complete it the opposite direction. And sometimes that is helpful to get a nice consistency. So if it's something that you're struggling with on that, give that a try and see if that helps. All right, so we have 4 seeds in each 4 boxes, and all pointing in towards the center. So when you're doing this tangle on a, like, say, a larger scale, you just kind of have to pick, well, okay, this one's going to be the center, and then I recommend doing like all 4 at a time. Although you could, again, I have done this where, I'm drawing just the one direction, but you just have to be careful because it's one of those where, it makes it easy to goof up. And then you just do something else, and it's okay. All right, so we have that. Then we're going to use the Hollibaugh technique a bit here. So we're going to draw a diagonal line, and I'm starting in this upper left, and a diagonal line going opposite. So if you look at the seed is going one diagonal, we're going to make a diagonal, but it's just a straight line going the opposite way. And so what I have found with this is, so we're going to go underneath the seed. So I'm kind of keeping my eyeball there because I do want to make it as straight line as possible to get over there. And so if you don't know, if you don't know what Hollibaugh is, I just did a video because I'm always referencing it. It is an essential technique in Zentangle. And I decided, I should do a video just in case you don't know, and that way you can kind of practice that with that tangle. Okay, and then this one, again, going the opposite diagonal as this. Lifting up your pen, have it travel over the seed, and then put your pen down on the opposite side. And there we go. So that's neat. And that, I'm going to say that's pretty much it, but not really. So there's 2 ways that she shows to decorate it. And I'm going to go back and look. I know in her step out, she shows 2 ways, and I will put a link in the description section to my step out for this, as well as a link to her information, and I think it was on Tangle Patterns, but I'll put a link on there because I think that she might have shown some other ways that you could decorate, but this is the decoration point. And I'm going to show one way here. And this is, we're going to just draw straight lines on this half, the half of this, essentially a diamond that's going towards the interior. And so then you're still going to utilize the Hollibaugh for this. And like so. And now the trick with this, and it's funny, I saved I was actually working a little bit ahead on this one, and because I did a sample with more than just a 4-square grid, and I left, I'll do it as we talk, because I was thinking, I want to make sure to show when you finish these there's some things you have to pay attention to. I probably should have done it with the way I'm going to show you next, but that's okay. You'll get the whole idea. So this one, so it's fine, and you're just being careful. So, and as you, if you noticed, when I was starting the line, I was starting it right where this one ended, so that way this looks continuous. This part here is the tricky part. So, and it's something, and I, as I was playing with it, I did something that I've never ever do, nor do I generally recommend it when we're doing Hollibaugh. Generally, when we do Hollibaugh, so for instance, I could have done, all of these lines this way, and then done all of these this way. And generally, I'd recommend, it's one thought, one stroke, essentially. You're just lifting up your pen, where you don't want to have ink. This one, though, because what we want to do is, if you want your lines to match up, so here's what I ended up doing. So I was being careful to be as consistent as possible. But what I found was it was hard for me to do Hollibaugh and go this way and make sure that they line up. So this one, like I said, I'm kind of breaking my own what I would normally do, and I'm going both sides into the center. And I found that way, to me, it was more important that these corners lined up than it was if this got a smidge off. And, and it does pretty good. It really does. Yeah. So that's the one thing you have to be careful of. And I should have done the more than 4 square on the other way. So here's another way, is you could also, instead of doing them to the interior, you could do the lines to the exterior. And that's kind of neat. Thinking what else? She didn't really share any shading ideas. Here it is on a 4 square. Let me finish this because I wasn't thinking that, I could demonstrate that, but I'm going to do it again here. And sometimes if you have more of a grid, there's more of a chance of it kind of going off a little bit. Well, even though I went over into here a little bit, it still turned out okay. So this is what it would look like if you do it on a larger scale. So you just, again, have to keep in mind that the pattern is on 4 squares. So that it would just depend on how you want to have it laid out, because you can kind of start anywhere. I don't know. This is a really, really neat tangle. Let me do one thing though, because I was thinking, well, what could you do for shading? Because she didn't really necessarily share some shading concepts. But one thing I'm thinking, of course, you could. You know what? We'll do this. Well, first thing is if you wanted to, and of course you can use color. Of course. But I'm just going to put some darkness in there with the graphite, and then we'll smudge it around and work not to get into any, we're only going to cross the outline, so just these little sections. And a lot of times I do that where I just scribble a little bit of graphite. And you can always go back and put more. Because when you use the tortillon, it smooths it out really nice. Well, let's just do that for all of them, and we'll see how that turns out. It could even, there's just so many things that one could do. Could add some other kind of texture if you wanted to, instead of, this is just adding graphite in here. You could add another texture. I kind of think it looks neat having, with it being kind of simple like this, and just, just these neat, clean lines. But I'm also thinking, you could put some orbs in here, like in the seeds, kind of, start in the middle and put some graduated and ungraduated. I don't know what's like, in increasing and decreasing size as the seed goes, right? And that could look kind of neat if you wanted to. And I kind of like being contrasting line tangles with orb, or curvy tangles. Sometimes that's a nice contrast. And this one being, it doesn't have a lot of drama. I couldn't think of what the word is I'm looking for. Sometimes I think I had a section and I called it black and white, where on my website I'm working to, well, I'm categorizing the tangles as I think that they should be categorized, or at least how they're categorized in my head. And so I have one that's called black and white. So if it's like around 50%, 50-50, you know, black and white, or colored in, filled in, and you know, and not filled in, because it just adds that bit of contrast that's really, really neat. And it's neat to contrast those tangles against ones like these that are more airy. They're just, it's more line work, you know, which then makes them look overall lighter. So there's a thought. Let's, oh, you know what? I guess it probably doesn't matter, but you know, I'm going to do it on this one. Let's try one more thing. I'm just going to put some graphite on the outside of these seeds. I mean, and two, you could just do the overall pattern, you know, going, you know, along the lines. It's just one of those things where it's fun to play with shading, and as you play more, you learn more, and then you can kind of pull from that that arsenal of knowledge. And this, I just thought, you know, it would be kind of interesting just to elevate those, pop them out, and I'm just smudging it. Whoops! I'm not working to go real far out, just a little bit. So let's see, and then always pointing the tortillon, the tip, to where I don't want to go over. Kind of ensures that, well, it doesn't ensure. It makes it a little less likely. You get a little more control over it, we'll say it that way. And, you know, sometimes control's good. And, oh, see, look at how neat that looks. And it elevates those seeds above the diamond in the back with the lines. So just really cool. Cool ideas. Well, with that, I hope that you enjoyed this. And again, in the description section, find links for the step outs and more inspiration, as well as ways to connect with me if you wish. We have a nice Facebook Tangle Addicts community going, where we share work from these and discuss and just have a lot of fun. Also has links to my website and such. That way, if you want to come and pop in on a Thursday and take a class, that would be awesome. All right. So with that, I wish you happy. Oh, you know what? No, I forgot. Before I wish you happy tangling, if you enjoyed the video, I knew there was. I need to put a little cue card for myself. If you did enjoy the video, thumbs up is greatly appreciated, as well as subscription if you like it well enough to see some more. Feel free to hit the subscribe button, and then also make sure to hit the notification bell next to it, so that way you can decide how you want to be notified, if you want to be notified at all. All right, so now with that, I wish you happy tangling.